Hey guys, it's Gabby. Welcome to my tutorial. Now this part of the video isn't as time-lapse as the rest of the video is because I have to talk to you all about the proportions of the face before we start painting, because a baby's proportions are completely different to like a person who's older. So the first thing you want to note is the shape of the head. Humans have like egg-shaped heads, like an oval, but babies' heads are a bit more rounder and closer to a circle. And that's because they have these cheeks, these fat cheeks for their baby fat, and then they have shorter chins. So it's still an oval shape, it's just less elongated and more circular. The next thing you want to note are the eyes. Now a baby's head is smaller, but their eyes are the same size as an adult size. And that's because, well, your eyeballs, they don't grow, right? And so, since it's the same size, but their heads are smaller, their eyes appear to be really big. They're not actually, but they look like that. So that's the next thing you want to note, that they look like they have big eyes. Then the nose, you don't want to draw in the lines for the nose bridge. The noses aren't really defined yet, and so you just want to draw in like the nostrils. And if you draw in the lines for the nose bridge, it'll make them look older, so avoid that. For the lips are a bit puckered because they have all this baby fat on their cheeks, and so it kind of squishes in their lips a bit. So especially their bottom lip, you'll find a lot of babies with a fat bottom lip, so it has like a pucker to it. Their ears are in the same proportion as a normal face, as in it's the distance from their eyebrows to the bottom of your nose. It just looks lower here because of the angle, like the face was tilted up just like a tiny bit, but it's the same distance. Then I just went in and drew in the hair. They had a lot of hair covering their forehead, and that's just because, babies, they're now growing out their hair, so it's a bit all over the place, And then soon you'll see me going into time-lapse for when I start painting. You'll want to pick out the darkest tone, medium tone, and lightest tone in their skin complexion. In this case, I used a mix of burnt umber, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, and a lot of white, and I just added more white to make the tone lighter. And then I just painted the entire face in that medium tone or mid-tone that you're seeing there. And this will just act as a base, and we'll add a next layer on top of that. Now normally the next step would be to paint a base for the hair as well, but since a lot of their hair is covering their forehead, we have to do that last, so we won't do that in this case. Next I just started to shade in that cheek you're seeing there. Now normally when I'm painting a face, I block out colors, so like I'd block out all the light areas and then highlight. So the cheeks, your forehead, the bridge of your nose, and your chin are the lightest areas, and then I'd block out the areas with shadow, so like the perimeter of their face, at the sides of the nose, under the nose, and a little bit under their lip. However, in this case, I didn't like block out the colors, all the tones in the entire face. I did each individual area, like I did one cheek, then the chin, then the next cheek. And that's because babies have really smooth skin, right? We've all heard the phrase smooth like a baby's butt. And so I wanted to go into each individual area and kind of blend it out as smoothly as possible to make it appear smooth. A tip to help blending is to add some water. I know like with acrylics, you're not supposed to add a lot of water, but like a little bit will help you blend. And you can also use your fingers to help you blend as well. Next, I kind of went in and did the nose and around the eyes. Now you'll see me put in the dark skin tone around the sides of the nose, right? For the nose bridge. But it doesn't get any darker than that. Normally there would be like a darker, more defined line for the nose bridge, but we don't want to put that because like we said before, the noses aren't really defined. And also, even if your reference photo, the baby has lines under their eyes, I know some do, don't draw them in, because like I said in my last video, lines or wrinkles, they're a sign of aging, so we don't want to put that in because they will look older. I just went in and kind of shaded the nose. I used just normal black for the nostrils and that's it. And I just shaded it. And I added quite a bit of highlight to like that apex of the nose, that little circular point there in the center, and to the nostrils a little bit as well. Then you can see that I added a bit too much water to the forehead. Now I know I said that water can help you blend, and it can, but you don't want to use too much because then it'll just take really long. Before it took me really long to do, so be wary about how much water you add. I actually eventually did skip out a portion of me blending in the forehead just because it took me so long to do. Then I just mix burnt umber and black for the eyebrows to fill them in. Now don't give them defined eyebrows. It's just a few hairs at most, right? You don't want to give them Kylie Jenner eyebrows. It'll look really weird. And then I took the same burnt umber and black and drew in the lines for the eyelid and outlined the top of their eyes. The inner corners were barely visible, but I still added in some burnt sienna, and then I just put in some gray for the eyeballs. Like I always say, eyes are not completely white, so you want to put in gray for the shadow in the eyes. Mostly around the edges. I also kind of use some water and burnt umber to outline under the eyes too. And I just use black to outline the circle for the irises, you know. And I filled the eyes in with a mix of gray and cadmium green and kind of blended it in a bit. Then I just used black to put in the pupils. And then I added white for the highlights. You might want to put more highlight than usual in this case because, I don't know, like babies have this kind of glittery, sparkly eye effect. I think it makes them look younger. Then for the lips, their lips was slightly open, their mouth was slightly open, so I just used a mix of burnt umber and burnt sienna for the inside of the mouth for like a shadow. And then for the lips themselves, I used a mix of cadmium red, white, and burnt sienna. Note that your upper lip is always darker than your lower lip, so you'll want to use more burnt sienna for shading in the upper lip, and you'll see me adding white to add highlights to the lower lip. Then I went in and started shading in the ears. Now, ears in general are pretty like funny looking, so you definitely want to follow a reference photo for when you're shading in your ears. But otherwise, yeah, I just followed the picture and started shading that in and putting in the highlights and the shadow. Some areas inside the ear were like really dark, like they had a dark shadow, and so I added in a little bit of burnt umber to that dark skin tone just to make it a bit darker. And you'll see me do that later as well with the neck, because there's a really dark shadow on your neck. Your chin, it blocks light from reaching your neck, and so it casts a shadow, and that's one of the darkest shadows you'll find on your profile. So yeah, you'll probably want to add a bit of burnt umber there. Then I just went in and started painting a base for the hair. Now, I added some water. It was almost like a wash, but not really a wash. And this was just to put in some color. It's not like detail or defined strands. It's just for a base, right? And while that dried, I put in the eyelashes on the baby's eyes that I didn't do before. Because I forgot, but don't tell anyone. And yeah, I don't know what it is about babies, but they tend to have like really long eyelashes. I don't know, I think it has to do with the big eyes thing, but yeah. And once that dried, I did basically the same thing with the hair. Like I just went in and filled in all the areas and put all the stray strands of hair, you know, like blowing everywhere. And I just filled it in. And that's all there is to it. You'll see that the lines are darker because I added water to the first base, and so it looks more defined now. I hope you all found this video useful. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.